Good evening, it's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Kanda. I am Portia, Gabor.
And my name is Kwesi Asare, and coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Chief of Staff Julius Deborah revokes all public service appointments and recruitments made after December 7, 2024, saying they were not in compliance with good governance.
Police on manhunt for thugs who disrupted Council of State elections in Kumasi. Tonight, we bring you a wrap of elections in the regions.
Also coming up tonight in the bulletin, minority in Parliament raises concerns over recent withdrawal of cases by the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine.
In business news, energy analyst urges government to increase its stake in oil fields to boost earnings as domestic petroleum revenue declined sharply.
And later in news from elsewhere, detained Ugandan opposition politician Kizza Besigye begins hunger strike as his time spent in detention awaiting trial nears 3 months. We've got details of all these stories plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
The news now in detail, and government has revoked all appointments and recruitments made after December 7. In a press release signed by Julius Deborah, it says, consistent with government's pronouncement in relation to near end of tenure appointment and recruitment, government brings to your attention that all appointments and recruitments made in the public services of Ghana after December 7, 2024 are not in compliance with established good governance practices and principles. Accordingly, all heads of government institutions are hereby requested to take the necessary steps to annul any such appointment or recruitment and submit a comprehensive report on the actions taken to the office by February 17, 2025.
To be honest with you, I think that as a principle, it's normal that we go by the rules of managing the human resource according to the manpower feeling that we have in various organizations. From what I know in the public and civil service, there's always a manpower ceiling. And you cannot, under any circumstances, not apply properly to the system to enable you to have authority to recruit. So recruitment is not just done because you are a president or because you are just a leader in any organization. It has to go through a process. Now, in this case, like in many other civilized institutions across the world, when you have election, you don't recruit immediately after the election the outgoing government. Except that government is taking power from itself, like MPP taking over from MPP. Then recruitment in any form or shape, even that, it does not make economic sense. That's why you have manpower ceiling. You don't go over the manpower ceiling. If you do that, you create financial, imbalance in the system. Now, under the present circumstance, all the people who were recruited immediately after the election, what it means is that you are recruiting people who are supposed to be your favorite for the person who is coming to take office to work with them when he does not know anything about all that. It's not normally done in all countries, like in America. When you are going, you go with all the people you came with.
Right.
And the new person recruits a new.
Remind you also watching News 360. Our major news bulletin for the day. We're streaming live on Facebook, also live on your DSTV channel 279. Of course, you may be aware that there was the Council of State elections throughout the country today, and the police have just issued a statement regarding that elections. And you can see that on your screens right now. It says the Ghana Police Service has launched a manhunt for a group of thugs who stormed the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council and disrupted today's Council of State regional elections in Kumasi. Police are currently reviewing all available footage to identify and arrest the perpetrators and bring them to justice. And still on the Council of State elections today, while other regions have successfully elected their Council of State members, the Ashanti region will have to wait another day. That's because thugs invaded the voting center at the Regional Coordinating Council to disrupt the counting process, destroying all the ballots.
It started as a peaceful process. 86 delegates queued to vote and elect one of the 12 candidates vying for the Council of State member in Ashanti region. By 11:30 a.m., voting had ended and sorting began. Just when the Electoral Commission was about to begin counting, a group of muscularly built men stormed the restricted area and destroyed the ballot papers. The police appeared helpless, whilst the thugs beat up journalists who attempted filming the activities. Calm was later restored, but the EC could not continue with the counting process due to the destruction of the ballot papers.
If this simple exercise cannot be done, how do you expect us to sit down and to pretend and say that we also sit down for you to have your way and confirm your various presidential nominees for the various positions of the MMDCs? So they should come clear with us and let this thing not, we just want it to be so fair.
Perhaps a new date may have to be scheduled for the election of the Council of State member for the region, since there was no official counting and declaration. The Ghana Police Service has however launched a manhunt to arrest the perpetrators involved in the disruption process. The Kumasi Block of Parliament has also condemned the incident, describing it as an attack on Ghana's democratic process. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Let's come back to the capital, Accra, where Stanley Niblo reports that the election of the Greater Accra Regional Council of State representative was marred by a series of chaos.
By 7 a.m., officials of the Electoral Commission had set the Omanyaba Hall the voting process. However, delegates did not show up to vote. Some aspirants then began accusing their colleagues of camping and inducing members of the Electoral College. 4 hours later, delegates trickled in. Aspirants were granted opportunity to campaign.
I've seen it all. When it comes to bravery, when it comes to the gut, to say it the way it is, so that people will have justice, people will have comfort, people can live in peace in this country. I stand tall. I'm seeking for your mandate to vote for me, so that I can come and continue with the good work that I've done in a different style.
I'm asking
you to give me permission to represent you, serve you, and also to add quality voice to your voices.
Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim, urged delegates to use the elections to forge peace among the Gadangbe states.
Greater Accra, we are going to set a very good example. There should be no noise. There should be no fight. This is people from Greater Accra casting a vote to elect one. There should be no fight about this.
Just as he ended his speech for voting to commence, chaos erupted. Police personnel detailed at the venue had restricted access to some observers and delegates who attempted to enter the auditorium. Another chaos ensued where the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Akwele-Oklu, who had briefly stepped out of the auditorium, was caught up in the confusion. This time, the chaos intensified among the observers. Eventually, tempers were calmed. 3 of the aspirants withdrew from the race. 58 delegates selected from 29 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies voted. After sorting and counting, a third chaos erupted. This time, supporters of some of the aspirants tried to snatch and destroy the collated result sheets and ballot papers. Aspirants were quickly whisked away from the auditorium, but the reinforced police officers in the auditorium swiftly intervened, giving the chance for the returning officer to declare the results. His Royal Majesty Nene Drola Bosu Adamte won the bid to represent the region after he garnered 40 out of the 58 votes. Chaos that characterized the elections should not affect the unity of the region.
I've seen that there are many blocks in the Greater Accra region, and it's not good for Greater Accra regional development. Therefore, after this, no matter who has won, we still have to bring all the factions together. We have to put our parochial and selfish interests aside and look about the bigger picture of developing Greater Accra. And that is the exercise that has taken place here.
Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Accra.
Did you know that the regional representatives being elected at present will form only half of the Council of State members? Let's take a moment to walk through the composition of the Council of State. And we have 3 ex-official members who include 1 former Chief Justice, 1 former Chief of Defense Staff, and 1 former Inspector General of Police. Now, we also have the President of the National House of Chiefs and 16 elected regional representatives. The President will also appoint 11 people, bringing the total number to 31. Now, it's 31 because it is an odd number to prevent a tie when it comes to decision-making, especially when it comes to voting. Before we go through their source of funding, let's take you through their source of funding. According to Article 89(8) of the 1992 Constitution, the allowances and privileges of the chairman and other members of the Council of State shall be charged on the consolidated fund and shall not be varied to their disadvantage while they hold office. As of the last emolument report, that is the Professor Ya Intiamwa emolument report, the chairman will receive 28,435 cedis, while the other 30 members will receive 26,266 cedis a month. The estimate of the ex gratia for each member after 4 years of service will be 365,000, and for the 31 members, we are talking about 11,315,000 cedis. And the total estimated cost to government will be 50.5 million cedis. That's after the 4-year term.
Very, very interesting, the Portia. Let's stay a while longer on this story or developing story. Dr. Esther Ofeabuaje is a former director at the Institute of Local Government. She joins us live on the phone lines. Thank you very much, madam, for your time. I'm sure you've been monitoring the elections today. May I just begin by taking your general thoughts about how the elections have gone so far?
Right.
Thank you very much. It's been very interesting. I don't think that over the past 30 years I've seen so much interest shown in the Council of State elections. It seems people have realized its existence and interested in what happens there and who goes there. It's been interesting. There's more coverage. And interestingly enough, there's the issue of people or maybe elements invading. There have been reports of various elements invading and trying to disrupt the elections. There have been accusations of trying to influence the Electoral College and so on. So, and again, another interesting thing for me is the effort by younger people, people under 40, to be elected to this Council of State. So it's interesting.
You talk about the chaos that has marked today's elections, the fact that there's a bit more interest compared to previous years. What could be accounting for this?
I think it's one, I think there's increased awareness. I mean, like citizens are aware of this entity, and I think for some people too, there's been some frustration because a lot of people have said that it serves no useful purpose. Their advice is not really binding on the president. A president can influence who gets onto it, and therefore.
But what really is the role of this Council of State? I'm afraid we're having difficulties with the connection to Dr. Isafia. She's a former director, I think she's of local government. I'm told we've got her back on the line. I was just asking from you, madam, what really is the role of the Council of State beyond just advising the president? I'm afraid we lost her one more time. You're still watching News 360, a major news bulletin for the day. We're happy to hear what you have to say regarding our major topical stories for the day. Just feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X. We'll now bring you a wrap-up of the Council of State elections from some regions today.
Michael Edu, known as Big Edu, was elected as the new Western North Region Council of State member, securing a unanimous 18 out of 18 votes. The election, held at the Regional Coordinating Council and overseen by the Electoral Commission, saw two contenders, Lieutenant Colonel Anthony Duhini and Mr. Frank Nelson, withdraw from the race prior to voting. The Bono region saw a decisive victory for Dr. Kwesi Boakye-Adom, popularly known as His Royal Majesty Odenehu Dr. Afram Brempong III, Paramount Chief of the Sumar Traditional Area, securing 16 out of the 24 delegate votes. Odenehu Dr. Afram Brempong III emphasized that he is set to bring the voices and concerns of the Bono region to the national stage, driving development and addressing key issues such as infrastructure in the region. From the central region, the constituency chairman for Trifo, Atimokwa Hakim Adai, pulled 18 out of the 44 votes to beat 9 others to win. He beat off competition from his close contender Nana Obokumetia the 9th, the Amankora Hine of Gomwa Echiampim traditional area, who got 10 votes. In the Bono East region, 11 male aspirants contested for the position, while 22 electorates cast their votes, with the Pimampim Yao Kagrasi V, the president of the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs, as well as the paramount chief of the Yeji Traditional Council, polling 11 out of the 22 votes. He pledged his commitment to collaborate with members of parliament and assembly members to work tirelessly for development of the region. Yvonne Nikwe also reported from the eastern region.
From 24 candidates, the numbers shot down to 22. 2 of them withdrew to give their support to others. By the end of the day, the elections were peaceful. The former regional women organizer, Evelyn Crown, won the election with 17 votes to represent the Eastern region at the Council of State.
All right, so let's return to the phone lines. Madam Ofoyabuaji is joining us back on the phone lines on that discussion regarding the Council of State. Madam, just before we wrap up with you, I just wanted to find out finally from you what you make of concerns by some who have questioned the relevance of the Council of State today.
Right. I think that once it's still in the Constitution and it's there, it adds another layer of the checks and balances that our system has. Various people have said things about its continued relevance, but once it's there, we need to make it work for us, because a number of the highest positions in our public administration system cannot be approved unless it goes through the Council of State. There are those who argue that a sitting president has an inordinate influence on the Council of State, which is expected to advise. But I think this time round, the kinds of people who've gotten elected on the Council of State could make for some very interesting developments. For instance, you actually have beyond, apart from the President of the National House of Chiefs, we've got about at least three traditional authorities on it, from the Upper East, from the Bono, and even the Greater Accra regions. We have some young people, a young man from the Volta region and the Western region. We have seasoned people like Alaji Mumuni from the Northern region coming in, and we have a lady from the Eastern region. So it's an interesting mix, and we've got to make it work. I think while we go through the constitutional review route to see how we can strengthen it or make it more accountable, we, the citizenry on the demand side, can ask more questions of the Council of State and the value of the work that it does. In previous times, the Council of State has periodically provided a report or something. We need to, because there's taxpayer money going there also. So we need to begin to ask questions and exact some performance from them whilst it remains as it is in lieu of constitutional review.
Thank you very much, Dr. Esther Ofoyabuaji is a former director at the Institute.
Let's now go to Parliament, where the minority has raised concerns over the recent withdrawal of cases by the Attorney General, with majority of the cases involving NDC appointees. Speaking through the Swami lawmaker, John Darko, the caucus indicated that the spate of withdrawals and discontinuation of cases 1 month into the John Mahama administration has the tendency to undermine the delivery of justice in the country.
We are aware that in the past few weeks, the Attorney General has withdrawn charges against some accused persons who are leading members of the government in power. These cases are the Republic versus Samuel Ofosu Ampofo and Anthony Kwaku Buahin, Republic versus Stephen Opuni, Seidu Agongo and Agricult Limited, the two cases involving the Republic versus John Pandit Asiama and others, the Republic versus Collins Dauda and 4 others, the Republic versus Ernest Thompson and 3 others, and the Republic versus Kesel Atso Forsen and 2 others. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Republic versus Atso Forsen and Richard Japa, the Attorney General withdrew an appeal to the Supreme Court against the split decision of the Court of Appeal acquitting the accused person. In a very reprehensible move, which Ghanaians should take note of and condemn, the Attorney General chose the option of discontinuing the prosecution by exercising the option of withdrawal of the charges under Section 59 2B II of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, that the Procedure Act 30. The AG, in essence, turned himself into both a prosecutor and a court of law by ensuring the acquittal of leading members of his own party. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and people of Ghana, what this means is that since the prosecution had already closed its case in most of them, unlike Lolly Prosequi, which when entered under Section 54 of Act 30, the accused person could have been arrested later by a new government. Under the Section 59, through the withdrawal, the way they've made it, When any government comes and any Attorney General comes and feels that these people should be prosecuted, you are unable to do that. More condemnable.
In other news tonight, Parliament has given the Minister for Health, Kwabena Minta Akando, 1 week to brief the House on the outbreaks of meningitis and cholera. Members of Parliament on the floor raised concerns over the spate of death recorded and demanded an urgent action to save lives. Following a statement by the Minority Leader, Alexander Penyumakin, the House summoned the Sector Minister to outline measures in curbing the emergency.
Members of Parliament lamented the deaths and the spate of public health emergencies caused by the outbreak of diseases, particularly cholera and meningitis in parts of the country. The Minority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu, Alexander Penyumakin, delivered a statement on the floor of Parliament. He, together with other MPs, called for urgent action by the Health Minister to salvage the situation.
It's been reported that 412 cases of outbreak of cholera in the Ifutu municipality has taken 3 lives. The Speaker, currently we have the affected people in the Winneba Municipal Hospital, the Winneba Health Center, and the UEW Clinic. The central government must immediately intervene to save lives. The people are suffering.
MP for Garu, on his part, wants government to consider roping in meningitis treatment in the Plant Vaccine Institute.
And once they've identified that this type of bacteria is not the usual one, I would recommend that we do a proper study about this and actually push to the development of the vaccine center, a vaccine manufacturing center. I know very well the previous government spent $25 million to enhance the capacity of local pharmaceutical companies in the production of vaccines for tuberculosis, COVID-19, and then the rest. I think we should now roll in meningitis.
In a response, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Bernard Ahiafo, directed the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando, to brief the House on all development within the health sector with regards to disease outbreaks within 1 week.
I direct the Minister responsible for health to appear before the House within 1 week to brief the House on all the health issues raised on the floor. Speaker, I so direct. I just contacted the Minister. He's on the field in monitoring the situation, so he'll be here on the 18th if the House would. I've taken all those things into consideration in asking that he should appear before us within 1 week.
Away from Parliament, 3 people have been killed in Wulugu in the northeast region in an attack the police believe has links to the escalating Bawku conflict. The deceased all men were passengers on a bus traveling from Kumasi in the Ashanti region to Garu in the Upper East region. According to police sources, the bus developed a fault, and as efforts were made to repair it, gunmen arrived on motorbikes and set it ablaze. The gunmen, the police added, then pursued the passengers who ran into different directions and shot 3 dead on the spot. The other passengers who managed to escape were rescued and conveyed by security forces to Bolgatanga. The remains of the deceased were also transported to the Upper East Regional Hospital morgue, awaiting identification and autopsy. A joint police and military team has since restored calm and investigations are underway. Additional troops have been deployed to Bawku and surrounding areas to restore peace and stability after fighting erupted on Monday following the killing of a woman and her children and the death of a man after 2 commercial buses were ambushed by unidentified gunmen. Additional security forces have been deployed to Waliwali and surrounding areas in the northeast region, where reprisals yesterday resulted in the death of 3 people. Castro Senyala, our Upper East Regional correspondent, continues to follow happenings in Bawku and joins us with updates. Castro, thank you so much for your time. First of all, what is the current security situation in Bawku?
Right, Bawku is very unpredictable. You can say that it is peaceful, and then the next minute there's gunfire everywhere. But as to speak now, the understanding I'm getting as I continue to report from safe grounds is that the security agencies are on the ground. That is, the police and the military continue to patrol hotspots within the municipality to ensure that calm is restored and people are able to go about their activities. As we speak now, the reviewed curfew is in effect, and so a lot more of the people going forward will be entering their rooms anytime soon. And as that happens, the security agencies will take over the streets of the town to control the conflict that has since left some few people dead.
Can you give us an update on the reprisal attacks at Wulugu near Waliwali?
Yes, yesterday we got an understanding that following the attacks in the Bawku area, there were reprisal attacks on the Waliwali highway, where we understand that 3 persons were gunned down. We understand that these 3 persons were on board a vehicle traveling from Kumasi to Garu in the Upper East region when it developed a fault. From police sources, the driver stopped the bus to get it fixed, and later on, gunmen who, chased it, got to it, and then set it ablaze. Luckily, these passengers had, gone off the bus so that they can get it fixed. And so when they set it ablaze, no one was injured. But the gunmen, we understand, later pursued some of these passengers who had been standing under trees and then other places. And 3 of them, unfortunately, were gunned down when they were running towards the township of Waliwali. The police, we understand, and the military have since reinforced their presence there to bring control to the situation. We also understand that those who were killed have been taken to the regional hospital in Bolgatanga for an autopsy and then identification, whilst those who they could get were quickly brought in and conveyed under military escort to Bolgatanga.
Now, Castro, just before you go, can you give us an update on the death and injuries toll since resurgence of the conflict last year?
The toll on deaths and injuries in the Upper East region or in Bawku is very dicey, but so far police figures put it at 46. As of yesterday when we got the last incident. So as we speak now, we have 46 people who have lost their lives so far in this conflict since it renewed in October 2024. As for the injuries, we understand from police sources that we should be counting somewhere over 60 people who have been injured. This is just Bawku alone. This doesn't include the fatalities that have been recorded in Waliwali as a result of the spillover of the conflict.
Castro, thank you so much for your time. And Castro Senyala is our Upper East regional correspondent.
A reminder, so watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We'll take a quick break and return with some more stories.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
To us trendsetters, to us fashion lovers, to us who flex with beautiful, unique and attractive fragrance, to us who sing of our magnificent life. Daring to feel different today means impacting a pleasant scent. For tomorrow's dawn, feel good, feel strong. Together let's break these rules and set new ones with slam. Together let's break these rules and set new ones with slam.
Whenever you fly to space or take your first step as baby, Soft Care always stays with you.
New Soft Care Space Series is rooted from space technology. Keeps you dry and comfortable for 12 hours long. Offers you the most effective protection during your space journey.
Soft Care. Protect your leap.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. making sure you have a responsive support system. Backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN,
West Hills Ridge Property, Eden Heights.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, SEMSE, Benjamin Nsia, says Ghana must secure greater stakes in oil exploration fields operated by multinational firms to reverse the sharp decline in domestic petroleum revenue. His call follows a Bank of Ghana report revealing a 62% drop in petroleum revenue, which SEMSE attributes to Ghana's limited equity participation in upstream projects.
Ghana's limited equity participation in upstream projects is the primary cause of this decline. Benjamin Nsia argues that increasing the country's interest in these fields will not only boost revenue retention, but also strengthen the local economy.
Fair pricing. Fair pricing here means that we have to hedge the prices, and that must be well calculated in terms of making sure that future uncertainty with respect to price increment will not affect us. But hedging has been a best policy in terms of achieving better revenues from the upstream in a volatile situation where prices continue to decline. Ghana must increase its stake with respect to some of the partners in our fields. The 3 fields that we have, averagely we are doing around 20%. The higher the interest in these 3 companies, the higher government gets a lot of revenue.
To put this into perspective, Ghana's oil production began in 2010 with the Jubilee field being a major contributor to the country's oil output. However, the country's stakes in these fields are relatively low. For instance, Cosmos Energy acquired an additional 18% stake in the Jubilee field, while increasing its stake in the 10 field by 11%.
We need to increase our output because in recent times, due to certain geopolitical policies of the West, prices of crude are likely going to decline further. So we can only show up our revenue when we increase a lot of output, and that also means that we need to relax our regulations or even have review our regulations with respect to attracting foreign direct investment, also boosting our local capacity to be able to explore more oil resources, either offshore or onshore. That is the only way we can get a lot of revenue, even though price on these particular products is declining. So increasing investment, and we must be able to attract both local and foreign investors to be able to invest in our oil sector to improve productivity and also output.
A new audit by PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC has revealed that the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, paid over 402 million cedis in commissions to a third-party vendor managing its payment platform before settling debts to key power producers. The payments made outside the standard cash waterfall mechanism raised fresh concerns about ECG's financial management.
A full-year audit of ECG's 2024 financials by PwC has uncovered significant financial irregularities, including 402.59 million cedis in commissions paid to a third-party vendor. These payments, made before declaring revenue to the cash waterfall mechanism, exceeded what ECG paid to some power producers, including Bui Power Authority. The audit also found that ECG underdeclared total revenues by 5.33 billion cedis in 2024. PwC warns that these commission payments reduced funds available for power producers, worsening liquidity challenges in Ghana's energy sector. Energy sector stakeholders are now calling for urgent reforms to ensure transparency and adherence to financial guidelines. PwC has recommended that ECG engage relevant authorities to review its payment arrangements and ensure compliance with the cash waterfall mechanism.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama has directed Finance Minister Dr. Kwesi Atuforsen to take urgent steps to bridge a $156 million funding gap following the suspension of USAID's international funding program. The shortfall threatens key health interventions, including malaria prevention, maternal and child health, and HIV/AIDS programs.
President John Dramani Mahama has instructed Finance Minister Dr. Kwesi Atuforsen to take immediate action to address a $156 million funding shortfall caused by the suspension of the United States Agency for International Development USAID International Funding Program. The president has expressed deep concern over the financial gap, warning that it could severely impact essential health programs. A projected $78.2 million deficit threatens interventions in malaria prevention, maternal and child health, family planning, reproductive health, nutrition, and HIV/AIDS treatment. The disruption could affect the supply of antiretroviral drugs and hinder HIV testing and prevention efforts. President Mahama has directed that emergency funding measures prioritize these critical areas to mitigate the effects of the funding suspension.
Blue Space Financial Cloud, in collaboration with MTN Momo, Carl Bank, Radar Brokers, and leading insurance providers, has unveiled Be Insured, an innovative auto insurance marketplace designed to transform how Ghanaians compare, purchase, and manage vehicle insurance. The platform leverages a simple USSD shortcode *170# to offer drivers a seamless way to access multiple insurance options, compare policies, and choose flexible payment plans. This innovative solution aims to eliminate the traditional challenges associated with insurance, such as cumbersome paperwork, long queues, and complex payment processes. By digitizing the experience, Be Insured makes insurance more affordable, transparent, and accessible to all Ghanaians.
What we're trying to do is to increase penetration, comfort, and access of auto insurance to, and give them financial inclusion. What that means is that if you're in a rural area and you do not have a smartphone and you have any non-smartphone, you can just dial the shortcode, because USSD has the biggest penetration across the market in Africa and even Ghana as a whole.
Car Bank, one of the key partners in the initiative, emphasized that the project aligns with its broader strategy to drive technology adoption across the country.
The collaboration is important because as Cal Bank, we have a payment platform we do put out there to assist various companies or business sectors to process payments. And it's one of such solution called CalPay, which is a payment gateway that we are using to partner with Blue Space to drive this insurance marketplace. So as a bank, our strategy is to digitize.
Be Insured is specifically designed to bring insurance to the fingertips of millions of Ghanaians, particularly those in rural and underserved areas. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Every child is so unique. You like no other. Outstanding in every way. It's me like no other. So anytime you walk and play, you like no other. You are special like Indo. It's me like no other.
Did you know on the planet has well as their own unique talents and abilities?
I can cook, I can drive. You like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
My head really aches, feeling cold and feverish.
Sorry. I know the solution to your problem. It is Procode.
Procode? I bought some 3 days ago, but I'm not seeing any improvement. You can even have a look.
Let me look at it. This is fake. Let's go to the drugstore. Please, we want Procode. No, not this.
Oh, but this does the same work, and it's even far cheaper.
No, we insist you give us Procode from Kojak. I don't understand why people give this fake Procode. And why they don't give the fake one, then they give you a similar one with a different name and tell you it works the same. But it is not so. The only Procode we know is from Kojak. If it's not Procode from Kojak, then we...
So this is the original Procode. It has the logo and Kojak boldly written on it.
Yes, for quick and effective relief from headache, flu, nasal congestion and other feverish conditions, insist on Procode from Kojak.
Procode, K-O-J-A-C-H. Procode.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. We start off from the Ghana Football Association as they held their first meeting with Asante Kotoko earlier on Tuesday following the tragic passing of Francis Yao Frimpong, a fan of the Porcupine Warriors. The meeting carried significant weight as Kotoko had previously withdrawn from all football-related activities in protest of Pole's death. In an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, Nano Drosafo, an executive council member of the Ghana Football Association, first condemned the act and assured that the FA are going to review the reforms earlier submitted by the club and take necessary action.
The protocol they sent to the FA, most of them are in the is there already. Just that we've not done very well enforcement, which we have decided to take note and then work on it again. So those that are not there, we'll look at it, and some of them comes along with financial implications, and so we'll take steps to educate the clubs and see how best we can do it. And I believe Kotoko themselves knows that the petitions have to be worked on. Some are periodical, some are instant. So when we are on parts, when we are doing it and they are happy and we've not completed, they know we will do it. We are in the motion. So it's a process. Football is timeous conscious. We need to meet a calendar. And then the issue that happened at Nshwatre, it's not football. It's purely criminal acts that somebody have committed. Because it did not come in the sense that a referee have cheated Kotoko. It did not come that fans have fought in the stands, but somebody killing somebody at debatable inside or outside the stadium walls. That was the issue. So blacklisting all football matches, I don't think would have worked well.
And so we're bringing you up to date on this developing story as to where potentially the Ghana Premier League would return to action. But from the men's division, let's move to the women's division, where Ghana's Women's Premier League continues to provide the avenue for girls to play and be themselves, whether it's girls who want to wear the hijab or girls who want to touch up their faces a bit before a game. Our Ghanaian football players in the female division continue to carve a path for themselves. Before Nuhalia Benzina wore a hijab at the 2023 World Cup, there was the story of Anatu Sadat in 2021 in Ghana's Women's Premier League. My colleague Akosua J delves into the story of how the league has been embracing diversity in the past years.
The Ghana Women's Premier League continues to provide a safe space for women
pursue different objectives and goals. It's become an avenue for many girls to play sports, but also to pursue education at the highest level. And increasingly, as the world embraces religion and football, it is also allowing many Muslim girls to enjoy the sports they love, whilst never giving up their religious principles. Meet Safia Salifu of Epiphany Warriors.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. When I traveled to Tanzania, I saw other ladies wearing it, so they encouraged me. That's why I started wearing it. As a lady in a Muslim, you have to cover yourself.
Joinina Academy's goalkeeper Osman Huzeima is another player incorporating the hijab into her training kit, reflecting a growing trend of female Muslim players confidently embracing their belief on and off the pitch.
Sometimes wearing hijab and the veil is like it makes you proud of your traditional, especially with the Muslims.
Coaches and technical staff appreciate this representation, seeing it as a positive step towards inclusivity.
We are proud to have a such goalkeeper like Huzeima, who don't joke with the culture and religion. Huzeima has been instrumental in our team.
So Safia Salifu is a Muslim. It's a good call for her to choose to, expose and, show the world that this is my religion.
While wearing the hijab in football is not new, its visibility in the Ghana Women's Premier League is growing, empowering more young girls to play the game they love without compromising their identity. For 3 Sports, Akosia AJ, Accra.
A very beautiful story there. But before we go, let's head to Europe, where Real Madrid and Manchester City are set to clash for the 4th consecutive season in Europe's elite club competition, with the first leg in Manchester tonight. The winner in the tie between Real Madrid and City has often gone on to win the Champions League in each of the past 3 seasons. This time, the winner would only make it to the round of 16 stage of the competition after there was a new format implemented at the beginning of the season. Meanwhile, PSG thumped Brest by 3-0 in the early kickoff game to take an early advantage into the second leg next week. Let's take a look at the fixtures for tonight's first leg playoff Champions League games. As I mentioned, PSG beat Brest by 3-0. Man City hosts Real Madrid. Juventus are home against PSV, whilst Portuguese club Sporting host Borussia Dortmund. You can get updates of all of these games on our social media handles at 3 Sports GH. My name is Ori Kwampofu.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by
Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment. Tonight in the segment, judges are currently in the process of screening the top contestants for Talented Kids Season 16. Participants from Kumasi joined their colleagues in Accra for the grand auditions.
The auditions for Talented Kids Season 16 are far from over. Earlier this week, the audition train made stops in Kumasi and Accra in search of fresh talents for this year's show. Over 1,000 kids turned up at various audition centers, each hoping to secure a spot on the judges' shortlists. The judges are determined to select only the best talents for this year's season of the kids' reality TV show. Participants from Kumasi joined their colleagues in Accra for the grand auditions.
Are you happy? I want you to clap for yourselves. Because you all did well, you did amazing, you're all talented, and we appreciate all of you for exhibiting your talents right here for the talented kids auditioning.
By the close of business today, an estimated 50 kids will be selected, pending the judges' final shortlist, of which 16 are expected to be announced on March 2.
Blessing, Gamadi. Congratulations, you've moved on to the next stage. For the rest of you, thank you very much, and you will hear from us soon.
The big question is, who will make it to this year's TV3 Talented Kids show? Fingers crossed.
In more entertainment news, hip life legend Reggie Rockstone has waded into the discussion revolving the state of fellow musician Okomfo Kwadee. Colleague musicians and the general public have criticized the music industry and organizations like Musica and Gamru for neglecting the artist in his destitute state. In an Instagram post, Reggie urged Ghanaians not to put the blame solely on music organizations and the industry. He explained that Kwadee is facing an issue which demands human love, not solely the responsibility of the music industry or organizations like Musica. He questioned what individuals are doing to help the artist rather than pointing fingers at the music industry. Known as the grandfather of hip life, the hip life pioneer highlighted his own endeavors to assist strangers and rehabilitate people, emphasizing that compassion should be shown to everyone, not just those in the spotlight.
We will now go for some sport of international news.
The Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have attacked Congolese government forces in the South Kivu province, breaking a two-day lull in fighting. Heavy shelling began on Tuesday morning, 3 days after a summit of East and Southern African leaders called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. The rebels have seized vast swaths of land in the eastern DR Congo, including the major city of Goma. They are now pushing towards Bukavu, the capital of South Kivu, another key city in the region. Around 2,900 people have been killed since early January as a result of the hostilities, the latest UN figures suggest. Approximately 700,000 others are estimated to have been forced from their homes and thousands more injured. Tuesday's fighting erupted near Ihusi, a locality around 70 kilometers from Bukavu and 40 kilometers from the South Kivu's airport, security forces told news agency AFP. A spokesperson for the Congo River Alliance, known by its French acronym AFC, an alliance of rebel groups including the M23, suggested its fighters could take their battle to Bukavu. Detained Ugandan opposition politician Kizza Besigye has begun a hunger strike as his time spent in detention awaiting trial nears 3 months. Besigye, 68, was charged in a military court with possession of pistols and attempting to purchase weapons abroad, accusations which he denies. On Tuesday, an aide from Besigye's political movement, the People's Front for Freedom, PFF, told the BBC because he should still not be in prison, he should be home. Besigye's trial was initially postponed until January. It is now unclear when the court case will begin. Besigye used to be a personal doctor for Uganda's longtime president, Yoweri Museveni, but went on to become an opposition leader. He has contested and lost 4 presidential elections against Museveni, who has been in power since 1986. The veteran opposition figure has previously accused the Ugandan authorities of political persecution. He has been less active in politics in recent years and did not contest the 2021 election. However, Besigye returned to the headlines last month after he was dramatically abducted while visiting Kenya and forcibly taken to Uganda.
Well, that's all for News 360. Thanks very much for watching. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Kwesi Asare.
And I am Portia. Gabor. Do join Beatrice Edu at 9 p.m. for Agenda. Good evening.